It's the beginning of school, and if you're like us, you probably already had a couple of challenging students and some behaviors that were unexpected.
Let me think. You could say that.
And if you want to learn how to take that challenge and turn it into a connection, stay with us today where we're going to give you 5 tips. And at the end, we'll give you our best, most surefire way to take any challenging behavior and turn it into a connection. Hi, we're FLAIR educators, and we are the ones responsible for helping you find your teacher style and learning what group of teachers you can best get advice from. I'm Angie.
I'm Candace.
I'm Kim.
Hey, I'm Katie.
And we represent the different teaching styles. So we believe that there's 5 different styles of teaching, and each style of teaching has a different way to deal with students. But all great teachers fit into these styles, and maybe even more than one of the styles.
Clearly, we have different styles.
Done. Teacher style.
And we're going to go through each style and tell you how they would take a challenge and lead it into a connection. So we're going to start with our Simply Stylish teacher, who is amazing with structure, organization, and connection. Kim.
He needs boundaries and structure.
No, I have routines.
You already had this happen in your class this week, right? Tell us all about it.
I did. It really wasn't a challenge. It was only my second day with my students. And a student came in, and as soon as she sat down, she's like, I need to use the restroom. And our school has a new rule that the first 10 minutes and last 10 minutes of class, they're not allowed to go. And so I explained that to her, and I told her, ask me again in 10 minutes. This is not me being mean, but that's our school rule. Ask me again. And I could tell that she was put out. She put her head down, didn't want to work, was angry, and was going to make a big deal about it. Well, as we continued, she never re-asked me to use the restroom, but I wanted to find a way to connect with her so that this pattern didn't continue. And we had just finished having a safety talk from our safety officer, and we're talking about, an escape route if there's an active shooter. And I'm looking at my key ring, and I have about 20 school keys on it.
Wow, that's a lot of keys.
Why do you have so many keys?
And I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to figure out what keys I need, what I don't. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to ask the student to help me. And so I asked her, I said, hey, can you help me with something? And she's like, sure. And all of a sudden her attitude changed and she was engaged, not in the lesson yet, but again, this is not high stakes. The second day of school, and she worked and worked on those keys, and she had long nails, and she's trying to get the keys off the ring. I said, oh my goodness, I don't want you to ruin your nails. Are you sure you want to do it? She said, no, I'll do it. And she got a couple off, and then she moseyed on over to another student she knew, and she had him help him. And I felt like it was such a win because it made her feel valued and important. And I gave her and the other student like a ring pop to thank them for their help. So I feel like it wasn't a challenge yet, but it was going to head there. And immediately I want to bond with the student and start building my relationship with her.
So you trusted her and you asked her to help you with something in your routine or something you needed. So
tip number 1, ask a student for help. And 2, let them know you trust them.
And of course I trust you.
Awesome. Okay. So that's a tip from a Simply Stylish teacher.
But she's so stylish.
Very sharp.
If you're a vintage teacher like me, you might take it in a different direction. So my response to that would have looked something like this. I would have said, oh, sweetie, you know that the school rule is 10 minutes. Why do you need to go to the bathroom? And then I would have had her answer. And then I would have said, do you want to set a reminder? And I would have done it in question form. So as a vintage teacher, I like to get to the bottom of things, and I like to ask a lot of questions. And so then I would have handed her invited her to take a stuffed animal, or invited her to remind me, and I would have given her a timer and then had her remind me at 10 minutes so she could use the bathroom. And then if it was really urgent, then I might have even broke the rule and let her go early.
That's right. She's breaking the rules. Shh, don't tell mom.
So if I asked her and she was like, oh, I just started, my girl thing, then I might say, okay, but just this once and hurry. So for me, I would have been really interested as a vintage teacher in asking follow-up questions. And that really worked for me this week because I had one student who threw something at another student and he got really upset when I called him out on it. It was a little eraser. And I asked him why. And he said that that student had been bullying him all day already. And it was only the third day of school. And so that gave me a chance to take them outside and have a restorative circle with them and resolve some conflict and have a discussion. And while one of them still kind of lied the whole time and never actually took responsibility, it at least let me learn a lot more about the students. And it definitely built the rapport that I'm watching. And when they left, they both stopped and said, thank you. And that they were so happy to be in my class. So tip number 2 from the vintage teacher would be ask follow-up questions and listen and keep asking more questions. You don't have to respond always. Sometimes you can just use good old Socratic method and keep asking and asking and asking to get deeper and deeper and deeper into that conversation.
How vintage.
All right, power dresser, take it away.
All right, so as a power dresser teacher, I'm all about engagement and getting the kids excited about learning. So for that, I would involve them in the first 10 minutes of class. Say they had asked to go to the restroom right when they came in. Okay, but first we're going to do our warm up and I really need you to lead that warm up. So just hang on and then you'll get to go afterwards. And then that way they feel like a valued member of the classroom community. And there's also kind of something to look forward to instead of just like looking at the clock and waiting for those 10 minutes to pass. So
what would you have done about the throwing?
The throwing, that's a tricky one, right? How do you get that?
Everybody gets like little things thrown, little papers,
right? Little things thrown. Yeah, definitely. For that, I guess a discussion, it wouldn't be that much different than yours, right? Where you're just talking with the kids and really understanding like what the reasoning was behind it.
One other thing as a power dresser that I might do for that is say, if you can help me clean up the floor, then and make it right, which I did this too. If you'll clean 10 things up off the floor and make it right, then I have a Jolly Rancher for you. And they're like, really? Even though we threw it? And I was like, well, if you clean it up, did you make it right? And so I think then that opened them up to having the discussion because I had to make it right then before I took them out and asked them why.
Yeah. And I feel like when you do something like that, like it gives them that reason to earn your trust back. And it's something easy. Like how easy is it to pick up 10 pieces of trash? And,
well, and I wanted them
you're not making it a big deal.
Yeah. And I wanted them to have the candy when we stepped outside so they didn't feel like they were in trouble. So it was like, we're having a discussion. I still care about you. And so it's not like what they're used to, which is like step outside or pick that up and step outside.
Step outside.
Uh-oh, y'all in trouble now.
I added like a little bit of fun or interest to it to try to keep it lighter.
Yeah, definitely. So tip number 3 is involve the student in the activity.
Fashionista.
A snappy dresser.
Oh my.
So what would you do?
Man, those relationships got to come first for me. For fashionistas, first thing I do is where's the communication breakdown? Reflect on that because every single behavior is a communication of something. So going to the bathroom, it would be kind of the follow-up questions of the importance of you being in class right now. This classroom is not the same without you in it, and the expectations to start our day are reviewed. So if it's like what Kim said, say in my building, it's the same thing. It's not, but for this discussion, 10 minutes, then why you're here for the next 9.5 minutes. We have some really important things for you to do and you can't miss out on because it's just going to impact the rest of your day.
That makes sense.
And then come back to them in that 9-minute. Thank you so much for jumping in and being here. I'll miss you while you're gone. Hurry, come right back. But it is all about so glad you're here. I'm glad you walked in the door, and it's not putting me out that you have a biological need, but there is also a routine and an expectation. And in order to respect each other and have that fluid relationship, we have to build on routines and expectations. And so stating that right off the bat of that expectation, I respect you, you respect me. and not getting into a power struggle. I think that's the biggest one. So one is, what are they communicating from a fashionista? Communication is first. If they're not using their words, what's going on, and helping them figure that out. And two is that relationship connection of communicating why they did what they did, whether they threw something. Okay, I saw you throw, going to the other example, that this person, what happened there? That action tells me that you're upset. What's going on? Why are you upset? And sometimes they don't know, but talking it out of, oh wait, you saw that I was mad, and it wasn't just knock it off, put that down. It's going to the root of the issue and communicating why I observed the behavior I observed, I think is a game changer. So those would be the two for a fashionista, making sure you have that relationship built and understand why they communicated what they did.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Can I say, I so appreciate all the different styles, all very good ideas and different ways to handling the situation. My girl who asked to use the restroom, she didn't need to use the restroom. She just wanted out because she never asked again. And so I kind of felt that from the beginning. So I didn't really get into the conversations that you all three had mentioned, but those are all good strategies. But I was intuitive enough to know that she doesn't need to go. She just wants to leave. And so kudos to all the styles.
It's only 4. It is.
I said 5.
Yeah.
Let's not forget 5th. And finally, we promised you the gem of all gems. And we're going to use a little bit of a different example. And we're going to use the hippie style as our final piece.
Hippies?
Yeah, but like in a good way.
So we had a beginning teacher at our school, and this is her very first year of teaching, and she had a really big challenge from one of her students, and they showed her outright disrespect. First they acted out, and then they were disrespectful to her. And it was a full-on challenge. It wasn't like throwing things or just needing to use the bathroom. This was a defiant challenge already on week 1. And so she handled it. She talked to them, she asked them questions, and she wasn't sure what to do. So I'll use these 2 tips from a hippie teacher and see what you think. The first from a hippie teacher would be, you're better than this. I trust you. What are you going to do to fix this? And so in all situations, a hippie hands that choice back to the student. So with the bathroom, it would go back to the student. Are you sure you really need to go? Here's what you're going to miss. I'm going to miss having you, all the things that we said in the conversation. But then ultimately trusting them with that decision, and maybe they leave because they just want to get out of there, but you trust them with that. And then that says something too. And then the second one the final one that we were excited that you've been waiting for, that has never failed me, that has turned every challenge I've ever faced into a connection, is really simple.
Tell us, please. We've all been waiting for.
Drum roll, please.
The next day that you see the student after the challenge, say to them, I'm going to call your parent.
Wait, what? Sound that great? That sounds horrible.
How big the challenge they offer depends on when I'm going to call the parent. So if it's a really big challenge, I'm going to call them soon. If it's a medium, later. But I say, I'm going to call your parent maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Now you get to decide what I tell them. I can either tell them about the challenge last week, or I can tell them how awesome you were in class today and how you helped me. What do you want that conversation to look like?
Oh, now I get it.
And 100% of the time, I have had this student be good the entire day. And at the end, remind me, are you going to call my parent and tell them they're good? And then I'll say something sometimes like, I'll give you a Jolly Rancher or a pencil, or I'll give you extra credit, or, just something little like a sticker or a stamp if you did good today. And that's how you'll know I'll call home. And so just saying, instead of just going to the negative phone call, students crave the positive phone call. And even if they're like, I don't care if you call my mom, say, I'm going to call them no matter what. So the choice is what you want me to say about you. And it's amazing how much that can turn challenge into connection. And then of course, it's super important that you follow through, and that if they were good, you don't even mention the first one. You don't even mention that it happened. You show them that they get a fresh start, that they are worth a fresh start, that they get it, and that you're going to reconnect with them from that base on. What am I missing?
I don't know. I love how every style is a little bit different, but also kind of the same. Like there's underlying connections between each of the styles, which tells me that like these are applicable to many different classrooms, not just if you're a hippie teacher or power dresser or whatever. You can try it.
It's really all about going back to your relationship and connecting with your kids. But I just wanted to remind all of our listeners and followers to watch for our upcoming video on tips for making those parent contacts, whether it's for a positive reinforcement or if you need to reach out for some problems that you're having. So don't forget to watch.
Yeah, and if you don't know what your style is, we really want you to take our style quiz. You can click our link tree below. Please like and subscribe and share this with your teacher friends. And if there's a video you want us to make or a specific challenge that you want us to talk about, the classroom behavior, something you're frustrated with on your campus, please in the comments below, tell us what kind of videos you want us to make. And we would be so excited to make any kind of videos to you. And if you want to reach out to us, you can always email us and we'd be happy to coach you in person. Because we're FLAIR and we believe that we teach because we care, and we know that you do too, or you wouldn't be here.
All right, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And remember, teachers who care
Teach
with FLAIR.
FLAIR.